Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. I have a very special video for you guys today. I'm going to be ranking the best movies that I have watched. Obviously, there's going to be a few that I haven't seen. We'll go through that after I say all the trilogies I have seen. So, we have the entire Fast and Furious trilogy, well, franchise. We have the Batman Dark Knight trilogy. We have Pirates of the Caribbean, Captain America, Chronicles of Narnia, Maze Runner. We got Iron Man, Planet of the Apes movies. We got the Hobbit trilogy. We got the Avengers movies. We have the Lord of the Rings trilogy. And then we have all the Star Wars movies. All 9 of the main storyline, not any of the spin-off ones. But obviously, the two biggest movie franchises that I didn't watch or haven't watched is Harry Potter, and I've been trying to convince myself to watch them. I just don't feel like it's down my alley at all. And then The Godfather, which I actually really do want to see very badly. But those are probably the two biggest ones I haven't seen, and then I left out a few that are like either from really far back then or ones that just aren't really that good or don't compete with the ones on the screen here. But without further ado, we are going to be ranking each of these movies. On the top of it is peak cinema, so this is basically some of the best movies we have ever seen, and it's considered to be one of the best movies of all time. Great film is basically that's like an 8 on IMDb. So a movie that solidified itself as one of the best in the franchise's movies, and it could easily be its own movie just because of how good it is. Could watch again is the middle of this tier list. It's better than alright. It has moments where you could go back and want to rewatch it for that moment, but still not as good as being one of the best movies in the franchise. It was alright, meaning there's not a whole lot good that happens in it, but it's not horrible. And awful, which is self-explanatory. The movie just sucked. So without further ado, let's get started. I'm going to try and go through these as quickly as possible, but I do love to rant, so we'll just see how it goes. But the first Fast and Furious movie, I absolutely love this movie. Um, Watching this, and this came out, I believe, in 2001. I love seeing Paul Walker's character and Dom, and just seeing how they went from beefing at the beginning to their connection at the end of the movie, and then just seeing it go throughout the rest of the franchise. I don't know, there's just something about it, seeing the group come together for the first time, and seeing them back then when this franchise has been going on for like over 20 years now. So, I'm gonna put this in could watch again, because obviously there is some flaws to it. They introduced Nas in the first one, and some of the Nas scenes where they show in the car are kind of bad, but it is a 2001 movie, so I'll cut it some slack, but there's definitely scenes in it that I'd want to go back and rewatch. Fast and Furious 4, on the other hand, and I skipped 2 and 3 solely because Too Fast, Too Furious only has Paul Walker and Tyrese, and then I skipped Tokyo Drift because obviously it doesn't have any of the main guys. Fast and Furious 4. A little summary on me watching Fast and Furious 4. I went back and rewatched every single Fast and Furious movie, and I went back and rewatched Fast and Furious 4, and I was excited to watch it because I didn't remember a single thing about it because it's been a long time since I watched all of them. And I absolutely hated it. I thought the ending was awful. I thought the storyline sucked. This is the one where Letty dies, and then Dom goes and tries to find out how she died, and then he joins that gang, and then he's just fighting some random gang at the end of it. It's the gang that killed Letty, and it's just a mess of a storyline. And I think this is easily the worst one, even compared to like Fast 9 and 10. So I'm honestly gonna put this in awful. I can't go back and rewatch it. I'm never gonna watch it ever again. I'm gonna skip over it if I ever go back and rewatch the series again. Fast Five, though, this is when they introduce Dwayne The Rock Johnson as Luke Hobbs, and he's going to hunt down Dom and the group. Love this film. I think personally, this is my favorite one of the franchise. So they really stepped it up from 4 to 5. They went from making the worst one to the best one, in my opinion. And adding Dwayne The Rock Johnson just stepped up their game a whole nother level. And this is what really took off for them for this Fast and Furious franchise. I'm going to put this in great film. I don't think it's to the level of one of the best movies of all time, but it's definitely a great film, and I would easily watch this any day if someone ever asked me to. Fast and Furious 6, this is the one where they introduced Luke Evans as the main villain. This is the plane one where they end on the plane, and I forget her name. The girl that plays Wonder Woman, I forget her name in Fast and Furious, but she ends up dying. Obviously, she comes back later in Fast X, but she dies at the end of it. It's not awful. There's definitely a lot of scenes that I do like in it. I think the ending was a little bit lackluster, and I don't like how half of the movie is Dom trying to convince Letty that she should be with them because she ends up she ends up actually surviving. So that's the big reveal in Fast and Furious 6. She ends up surviving, and they have to convince her that uh, her memory goes away. Like, she just got knocked out, basically, unconscious. And so Dom and the group have to try and convince her to come back, but Luke Evans is using her, basically, for his team. So she's going against Dom, and Dom's trying to convince her to come back. So they, I think they drug that on way too long. I thought that was kind of annoying. I hated every one of those scenes, but still, there's still a lot of good scenes in it, so I'll put it in could watch again. But I don't think it's on the level of Fast 5. Fury 7, I'm going to put in great film. The tribute to Paul Walker was amazing. They introduced Jason Statham as the main villain. I loved every single scene with Dom and Jason Statham together was incredible. The Rock was amazing in it, even though he had to sit out for a little bit. Him breaking off the cast and then finally going to work, it was just incredible. And I don't know. There was just something about Fury 7 that I really enjoyed, and I think it deserves to be in one of the greatest films, especially on a tier list like this. Fate of the Furious, this is a hard one. I liked the idea of Dom going against a group. I thought they did it well with, obviously, I forget her name. Her name's like, it's like Cypher. Yeah, I think that's her name. I believe it's Cypher. But Cypher, Um, she basically kidnaps Dom's son and the woman he meets in Fast 5. She was a police officer, and he has a kid with her, and Cypher kidnaps them and forces Dom to go against the group. And it was a good idea, but I think the second half of the movie was it just wasn't what I was hoping for. There's some good scenes in it, but the ending with the submarine, that was just chaotic. So I'm gonna put it in alright. It's very close to being on could watch again, but I don't think that I don't think I'd go back and rewatch it. And if I do, like, it would be years until I'd rewatch it again. Fast 9. Okay, so this is the one where they introduced John Cena as the main villain, Dom's brother. Uh, I was fine with this movie. I'm not gonna lie. I was fine with it until they went to space. Literally, it was so stupid why they went to space. They did not need to do it. I get Fast and Furious, this whole premise is they want to do something new with cars. They want to show different ways of how cars can be used in films, and that's their whole premise. So I get these car tricks that Dom's doing and all that. Like, I get that they're trying to do crazy stunts with cars, but sending the car to space was just so overkill. I don't know if I'm gonna put it in awful though. I literally think Fast and Furious 4 is on its own level though. I think I'm gonna put it in alright. Now, real question is, is it going to be ahead of Fate of the Furious? I'm going to say no. I'm going to say it's probably the second worst so far. Yeah, that sounds right. Alright, and then finally Fast X, which is the final one they've created. They are making an 11th one, the finale, but that has not come out yet. Fast X, they introduced Jason Momoa as the main villain. Cypher comes back, and basically the original group's back as well. I've only watched it once, and actually, I didn't hate it. I don't think any of the car tricks were too bad from my understanding, or at least from what I remember. Yeah, I don't think any of the car tricks were horrible. Jason Momoa's character I actually really liked as the villain. He's one of those, like, creepy, like, psychotic serial killers, and it shows throughout the entire movie. This movie is filled with actors, and is set up really well for the finale, because obviously Alan Richardson's in it, and then they introduced the girl from Wonder Woman. They revealed that she's still alive. They revealed The Rock's gonna come back for the finale. So they did a very good job of setting up for the finale, and I think obviously this is just part one of the finale. That's kind of what all they were doing in this movie, but overall I think it wasn't horrible. I'm gonna put it at the very end of Could Watch Again, because I think it's definitely better than these three, but I think there's a big drop off between Fast and Furious 6 and Fast X. So it's like these are the top four pretty easily, and then this one's in the middle, and then these three are far down below. So yeah, there's our Fast and Furious franchise rankings. Um, Overall, as a franchise, it's kind of unfortunate because it started off meh. In the middle, it turned out great, and then towards the end, it was looking rough. But I'm interested to see what they do with this finale because Fast X did do a pretty good job of setting up for the finale. So I am excited for the finale, especially with The Rock coming back. Next up, we have the Dark Knight trilogy. Batman Begins, I watched for the very first time not that long ago. I loved it. Um, I've never watched a Batman, what's it called? Their like their story, like their beginning story. I'm blanking on what it's called, but seeing his story and how he becomes Batman, I thought was very cool. I love seeing Liam Neeson in as Ra's al Ghul, and I'd probably put this. I'm definitely gonna put it in great film. Now I just have to know it's better than Furious 7, but I honestly think I'd rather enjoy Fast 5 more than Batman Begins. Yeah, I think that sounds about right. I'd put it right in the middle between these Fast and Furious movies. But Batman Begins, it's a great film. I've only watched it once so far, but I could definitely go back and rewatch it. The Dark Knight, obviously, this is the one with the Joker. Heath Ledger's Joker, rest in peace. Considered one of the best acting performances of all time, still to this day. And this obviously has to go in peak cinema. It is considered one of the best movies of all time. I believe it's rated like an 8.5 on IMDb, and for good reason. It's just such a perfect movie. I don't have a single complaint about it. I think the ending could have been maybe better, or like the way that Joker was gonna destroy the city. I think that could have been a little bit better, but overall, it's just such a good movie. I watched it for the first time like 4 or 5 years ago, and I absolutely enjoyed every second of it. Just seeing Joker and Batman in the screen together, it was perfect. Dark Knight Rises. Now, for those of you that don't know, Tom Hardy is my favorite actor of all time, so I am biased towards this movie. My hot take of this movie is that I believe that Tom Hardy, his role as Bane in The Dark Knight Rises, is better than Heath Ledger's Joker performance in The Dark Knight. That is my hot take for this trilogy, but I would still say that this movie is worse than The Dark Knight. I'd say The Dark Knight Rises is still a great film. I think it's gonna be the top of the great film category. Bane just corrupting the city and releasing all the bad guys. He drops like knowledge bombs all over the place. His line about how he was born in the dark and how basically he was molded by it. It's just such a good movie. And you've never seen someone stand up to Batman like that before. So seeing Bane destroy him and then Batman comes back from the pit, it's just such a good movie. The only reason I wouldn't say it's better than The Dark Knight is because of the ending, where they're like stalling at the end while the bomb's ticking. They're like talking to the girl that's about to die. If they didn't have that at the end, I would say that this movie is better than the second one. But the ending for The Dark Knight Rises was not as good as it should have been, but still a great film nonetheless. And obviously, as you can see, this trilogy as a whole, I'd say it's a top three trilogy of all time. The Dark Knight trilogy, it's just so good in every single way. Now we're on to the Pirates of the Caribbean trilogy, or franchise, excuse me. I'm a big fan of these. I love going to rewatch the first three. The first three, I love watching because that's like the main story, and then these two are kind of like spin-offs in a way because it's just about Jack. But Curse of the Black Pearl, the first one, I'm gonna put this in great film, and I'm probably gonna have it better than Furious 7, but see, is it better than Batman Begins? Some people are probably gonna hate me for this, but I'm gonna put it right in the middle for great film. This was Jack Sparrow's first performance and on this big screen. Obviously Will Turner, played by Orlando Bloom's in it. They just work so well together. They're trying to get back Elizabeth Swann, and then obviously Barbossa's in it, and they just have so many good characters throughout this movie that it makes it so enjoyable. Like the story and the adventure in this movie is just so enjoyable. And then the little plot twist about how Jack's undead because of the curse and he can't die. That was a very good twist. And then the only complaint I would have for making it a perfect movie is, I don't know, the ending with the treasure. I kind of wish they did more with the ending. Like, the ending wasn't as big as it could have been. But overall, it was a great start to a franchise. Dead Man's Chest. I think this is right up there with the first one. I would say the first one is slightly better, but not by much. I'm going to put this one definitely in great film. I don't know where I'm going to put it, though. I'm probably going to keep it at the very back, just because I feel like they could have done more with Davy Jones in the second one. Because obviously, Dead Man's Chest, they introduced Davy Jones, and they're trying to kill Davy Jones. They're looking for the key to unlock the chest to Davy Jones's heart. That's what Jack Sparrow's looking for. It's a great movie for the most part. I just wish they did more with it overall. Seeing the Kraken was very cool. And this is when Jack actually dies, but obviously he comes back in the third one. But still, another great movie. At World's End, another great movie. I might have to switch these around because I don't know if I can have all three Pirates of the Caribbean movies in great film, but I might have to because I love the first three. The first three are so good. If I had to put At World's End, where would I put it? This is when all the pirate lords come together to fight off the British soldiers, because the British soldiers are using Davy Jones to control the sea. So it's the British soldiers and Davy Jones and his men going up against all the pirate lords and all their men. And the end war is just absolutely phenomenal. It's every single pirate ship versus all the British soldiers during the storm because of Calypso. I think this is definitely the second best. It's very close to the first. I'd probably, oof, um, I'll put it right there. I'll say Batman Begins is better than it. Actually, I might have to put Batman Begins. Yeah, Batman Begins has to go there. And then I might move Dead Man's Chest down here. No, all three of these have to be in great films. The first three are just so good. I have to keep them in here because I've rewatched all three of these so often. Yeah, that sounds about right. I'd go 1, 3, 2, but all three of these are so good. Some people would probably disagree with. Some people think the second one's the best one, but I have it as the third best. But honestly, whichever one I watched more recently, I'm gonna have higher. And I've watched Curse of the Black Pearl more recently. If I went and rewatched Dead Man's Chest right now, I'd say that's my favorite one. So that's just how it is with these movies. Next one, On Stranger Tides. This introduces Captain Blackbeard, and I didn't really like this one, if I'm being honest. I don't go back and rewatch this one. The only reason if I would do it is just because of Johnny Depp's role in it, but they really wasted Blackbeard's character in it. It was not that good of a movie. I'd put it in alright, and then I'd probably have it at the top of it was alright. There is nothing really special about this movie. Blackbeard, and they got such a good actor to play Blackbeard. It's the hotel manager from John Wick, and I feel like they just ruined it. They could have made it such a good movie. Having Captain Jack Sparrow, Barbossa, and Blackbeard all in the same movie, and you manage to somehow not make it a good movie. They just really fumbled the bag there. And then finally, the last one that they made was Dead Men Tell No Tales, and this one was definitely rewatchable. I'd probably put it right here. Yeah. Uh, it's like neck and neck with Fast and Furious 6. I'd probably say it's right below. But this is the one where there's this undead captain who got cursed because of Jack Sparrow, so he was coming after Jack Sparrow to try and kill him. And then Will Turner's son is looking for a trident because Poseidon's trident can lift the curse from Will Turner from the Black Pearl, or the Dutchman's ship. So basically, Will Turner's son and Barbossa's daughter, they come together, they fall in love, and they find the trident to lift the curse on Will Turner. And so at the end of the movie, he reunites with Elizabeth Swann. So that was a really good ending, I thought. That was probably the best ending out of all 5 movies. So that's a good positive for the last one. But overall, as a franchise, I still love the franchise. Johnny Depp carried the franchise. Even in the 4th and 5th movies, that obviously you can tell, like, it's fallen off. But, like, you're still gonna enjoy these movies just because of Johnny Depp. So that's the good thing about these. Like, you can still watch these movies just because you know you're gonna laugh because Johnny Depp just does such a good job. But first 3 are easily just great films, and I can go back and rewatch them any day. Next up, we have the Captain America trilogy. The first Avenger, I used to say that I didn't like the first Avenger, but going back, I have rewatched it. Real question is, how often could I rewatch it? Because I don't feel like I'd rewatch it that often. Am I really about to put the first Avenger and it was alright? The villain wasn't that good, but it is his origin story. That's what I was looking for, is Batman's origin story. I'm really about to put Captain America First Avenger and it was alright. And the crazy thing is Captain America is my favorite Avenger. Yeah, we're gonna put it... No. Unless if we... See, this list is gonna be weird because Like, you wouldn't think that I'd watch Fast X more than First Avenger, but I would. Yeah, I guess I have to put Captain America First Avenger. It goes in It Was Alright. I love the beginning where he starts out as a scrawny boy and he wants to commit to the army. He ends up doing it. He shows that he has a brave soul and that he'll do anything for the country. So then they give him the serum. He turns into this buff guy. Like, I love the first half of the movie, and it's just the end. Like, I didn't really care for the end at all, and that's why it kind of killed it. And like, I've probably only watched the first Avenger maybe twice, so I can't really say I could watch it again because it's gonna take me another few years just to go back and rewatch it. Winter Soldier though, I love Winter Soldier. It's one of my favorite movies. Obviously Bucky, the Winter Soldier, he comes back in this one. They show that he's not dead, and I think this was a huge stepping stone for Marvel movies in general. I think this was the first big, huge one, and I'd definitely put it in great film. Would I have it higher than Fast Five? Probably not. I would have it higher than Batman Begins, though. I'd probably put it right here in between Batman Begins and Fast Five. Such a great movie, though. Love going back to rewatch it. Watching Hydra corrupt over Shield. Like, during this movie, Captain America is dealing with Bucky, while at the same time Hydra is corrupting Shield, and they're getting in the inside of Shield and taking it down. So it's just such a good movie, and they had two different good storylines going on throughout it that just made it such a good movie. And then this one, I hate saying it's a Captain America movie because literally every Avenger is in it except for Thor and Hulk. So I hate calling it a Captain America movie, but I get why it is because it's Captain America and Iron Man. It's their beef at the end of the day, and it's all based on Captain America and it's based on his morals and what he believes in the story at the end of the day. So I get why they call it a Captain America movie, but it's basically an Avengers movie. This is probably a top five, if not top three Marvel movie of all time for me. I am dead serious. I really want to put this in peak cinema because this has one of the best stories in a superhero movie ever. The fact that Iron Man feels so guilty about the death of that girl's son. This girl confronts Iron Man and she's like, "My son's dead and I blame you." The guilt that Iron Man feels and he actually takes it instead of just being like, "I don't care." This was the first time we saw Iron Man's morals change and he started caring about like other people. And then the Sokovia Accords come into play with um I believe it's Ross. Ross comes in and he tells them, "Listen, you guys can't just go out and do whatever you want now. Like you're gonna have to check in with us and we'll tell you if we need you." And obviously Captain America and his group, they don't agree with that. They say that their hands are still the safest in the world. Like their hands should be the ones protecting everyone because they're the strongest and they're the only ones that can protect the world. So, love both sides of it. Um, the end where they find out that Bucky, the Winter Soldier, when they find out that the Winter Soldier killed Iron Man's mom and dad, such a huge plot twist. Makes Iron Man go crazy, and then we get Iron Man versus Captain America or it's Captain America and Winter Soldier versus Iron Man. Such a good end fight scene. Black Panther introducing him, introducing Spider-Man to the MCU. There's just so much that goes into this movie. Oh, I want to do it. We can make changes at the end, but right now I'm gonna put it. Ooh, hold on. Am I gonna put it above Dark Knight Rises? Yeah, I am. So Civil War is gonna be the top of great film so far. Like I said, we'll go back towards the end and we'll readjust if we want. But overall, the Captain America series, all their movies are good. Even though I wouldn't go back and rewatch the first Avenger, it's still a pretty good movie. And then Winter Soldier and Civil War are phenomenal. I love those movies. Next up, we have Chronicles of Narnia. Um, Obviously, these are more on the fantasy side. I believe it's two sisters, two brothers. They move away because of a war that's going on. So they move away. They move in somewhere, and they go and play hide and seek. They find this wardrobe, and this wardrobe, once you go inside it, it leads to a whole fantasy world where there's lions that can talk, animals can talk, there's centaurs, there's just so many like mythological creatures in this world. And then there's this witch that they fight at the end, and there's this huge battle at the end, but the two girls and the two boys, they become kings and queens, and they're they're supposed to protect Narnia basically, and that's what they do throughout the whole franchise. But first one, just introducing the four siblings, introducing the Narnia world. Uh, Aslan, played by Liam Neeson, he's the lion. Just great acting in general. I loved this movie as a kid. I'm not gonna put it in great film because it's definitely not on their standards, but I'd definitely put it probably at the top of could watch. I'd definitely put it at the top of could watch again. It's a very enjoyable movie. I can easily go back and rewatch this movie. I could watch it right now if I wanted to because there's just so much in it that is enjoyable. And watching the family just go and roam around in this world that we haven't seen before, it's just so cool. The second one, Chronicles of Narnia, Prince Caspian. This one, I always cannot say which one I like more between the first and the second one. Second one introduces Prince Caspian, obviously. The family, spoiler, obviously. The family goes back to the real world at the end of the first one. And then a few years later, they get called back to go to Narnia. And when they go back, it's like during medieval times. And Prince Caspian's there, and he leaves the castle because his grandfather's trying to kill him, and basically he goes and looks for the king's and queen's help, so they're going up against his uncle. Another great, fun movie to watch. The fantasy in it is really good. I think the acting's done well. It's gotta be right. It has to be right next to the first one. I just don't know. I'd probably put it here just because the ending could have been a little bit better. The end just end up being a duel, and then I forget what happens, but excuse me, I'm recording this at 4 in the morning, as you can see. Um, I, I forget how what it's like a huge wave or something that like destroys the bridges or whatever. But I thought the ending could have been a little bit better, so I'm gonna say the first one's better. Third one, I don't even want to talk about this movie. So this movie kind of has the same summary as this one. I was very excited to go back and rewatch it because I loved the first two. I was like, oh, okay. I just have maybe I've only watched it once, and I will really like it this time. Even now that I'm older and I'll actually remember it. Went back and rewatched it. Nothing happens in it. There's nothing enjoyable about this movie. There's comedy in it, which I enjoyed, I guess, but that is the only thing you will like about this movie. The end where like they fight that sea monster, the CGI looked god awful. Probably the worst CGI on this entire list. Yes, I know people bash on the Hobbit CGI. Go watch Narnia 3 and go to the ending, and you will see the worst CGI of all time. But overall, Chronicles of Narnia, it's a fun franchise. Obviously, it's nowhere near one of the best compared to some of these, but it's a fun franchise that I would definitely recommend watching. You can skip the third one, though. Don't watch the third one. Next up, we have the Maze Runner franchise. Great trilogy here. I personally enjoy these ones a lot. First one, kid gets moved up in the box. He doesn't remember anything. It takes a while for him to even remember his name. Obviously, they're stuck in a maze and they have to try and find their way out with these huge monsters that are in the maze at night. First one, I don't know where I want to put these because all three of these are very close together. I don't think one's so far above the rest. First one though, I think it's oh, this is gonna be close. They're probably all gonna be in Could Watch Again if I had to guess. I don't think any of these deserve great film. Maze Runner, it's first or second on here. I'd probably put it. Let's put it. Jeez, I can't really think of which. I'm gonna put it second. I don't know. That's really close. I could go back and forth on which spot I'd rather have it in, but I don't know. I feel like I enjoyed Narnia, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe slightly more than the first Maze Runner. Actually, you know what? Solely because I've watched the Maze Runner more, I'm gonna put it at the top of it. Since the category is literally Could Watch Again, I have to put it first since I've watched it the most between these two. Scorch Trials, obviously they end up getting out of the maze and they end up finding this group. This group says that they're going to help them, but secretly they're actually trying to use the kids to find a cure. They're killing the kids and like testing their blood to try and find a cure to this disease. And this disease basically turns them into zombies. Because Scorch Trials, that they're basically going up against zombies, and they're out in the wilderness of these deserted cities, and there's a huge, there's a crap ton of zombies that they have to fight through. Second one though. Now, where am I going to put the? It literally might be 1, 2, and 3 at the very top of Could Watch Again. These are really fun movies. Scorch Trials. Do I think it's better or worse than the first one? Gosh, I don't know. I feel like it might be better, honestly. I'm gonna say this one's better than the first one. I do think so. I enjoy the adventure aspect of the second one. The first one kind of got a little bit old because they're in the same location the whole movie. The second one's a little bit better because they're actually traveling this new world. You're getting to experience what the world looks like with this virus going around. The end where Wicked, Wicked is the group that's taking the kids and trying to find a cure. Wicked finds them at this new resistance camp. They find a resistance camp that's actually fighting Wicked, and you see the resistance fight Wicked at the same time at the end, which was really cool. And then the resistance ends up losing, and Wicked takes a bunch of the kids. And why am I'm forgetting the main character's name? Thomas. Thomas, at the very end, he gives this great speech about how he's gonna go back and break everyone out because he doesn't want any of them to die. And it was a really good speech, and it set up really well for the third movie. So I think it is better than the first one. Now, third one, I this is so hard because, like I said, they're all so close together. I'm gonna put it probably right here. So the reason I have it better than the first one is kind of a similar aspect about the second one. The adventure aspect of it is really cool. Watching them go and see that city for the first time, it's the only city in the world where like it actually looks, it's still running and it looks incredible. That was really cool to see. They break into the city. Obviously Tessa, I think that's her name. I don't remember. It's been a while since I've watched. I think it's been a couple months since I've watched one of these, but um yeah. she turns bad, and they have to go and capture her inside the city, and it's just a whole thing where they're trying to take down the city, and a huge riot comes out, and there's a huge group that just ends up fighting the guards in the city. Great end to the story, honestly. Newt, Thomas's best friend from the maze in the first one, he ends up dying at the end, which that was a huge loss for the finale, but great franchise overall. These are just fun movies. Kind of like Narnia, except not one of them was awful. So this is probably how I'd put the order of them. It's very close though. Like I think all three of these are very close. I'd probably have all of these within like point six of each other if I was rating them out of 10. So very close. All of them are fun. You'll like each one of them for their own reason. Next up, we have the Iron Man trilogy, and people are probably gonna be mad at me for this because I'm not that high on the Iron Man trilogy. The only one I think that deserves its respect is the first Iron Man. I would put this all the way up here, and I'd have it right there. I think that's a good fit for Iron Man 1. Obviously, it's his origin story. It's I think it's the best origin story out of all of the Avengers, and I guess superheroes in general. Um, Obviously, Jeff Bridges is in it as the main villain. I think that was a great casting. I thought that was perfect. And Robert Downey Jr., his performance in this is just so good that it has to be up here. Iron Man 2, Iron Man 3, you guys are probably gonna hate me for my rating on that. Iron Man 2, I'd probably put. See, I've never gone back to rewatch Iron Man 2. Like realistically, I'd probably put it like right here because I don't go. Alright, you know what? Screw it, I don't care. This is my list. So if you guys hate me, well, just remember whose list it is. But I don't really care that much for Iron Man 2. Like, I could go back and rewatch it, but I don't have a desire to. Obviously, this has Whiplash in it as the main villain, and it's alright. Like, I don't know, it just does not stand out like Iron Man 1, and I don't get how people praise the second and third one as much as they do. But I have Iron Man 2 and could watch again. Yeah, it has to be down here, because I've probably watched these movies 10 times more than I've watched Iron Man 2. So yeah, Iron Man 2, you guys are gonna say is really low, but I just haven't watched it that many times. I've watched it like two times, I think. Iron Man 3, I think it's even worse than Iron Man 2. Some people love Iron Man 3. Well, I'm trying to think of like the theme of the movie, and the theme is actually better than the second one. So maybe it is better. No, I'd say it's slightly worse. Yeah, I'd say Iron Man 3 is slightly worse than it, but it's still could watch again. Don't get me wrong, Robert Downey Jr., kind of like how Johnny Depp did with Pirates of the Caribbean, he carried the movies with his performances, but I feel like the villains lacked in the second and third one, and I think that's what really killed them. And honestly, if I'm gonna be real here, I think the only reason the first one's this high is because it's his origin story. I think the villain's kind of weak here too. I don't think they gave a strong villain to any of these movies for the Iron Man series, and that's kind of a letdown because if you gave him a cool character to fight, I feel like it could have been peak cinema, just like The Dark Knight. But I don't think any of the Iron Man movies are one of the best of all time, but still, it's still one of the best movie franchises. So, moving on, we are on to the Planet of the Apes movies. I love these movies. I go back and rewatch these pretty often, actually. They're very fun movies to watch. They're on the same scale of Maze Runner and Narnia, I would say. But first one, Rise of the Planet of the Apes, introducing Caesar. Um, it's definitely, I'd probably put it up here. Um, hmm, probably would have it right here if I had to say. No, I don't know. No, I'd probably put it right there. Rise of the Planet of the Apes. I'm definitely gonna put it in Could Watch Again. It's the origin of Caesar and basically shows how the apes got their intelligence. And the scene where he speaks for the first time is so cool. Um, and then when they escape the zoo and they flee to the jungle, them fighting the police on the bridge, that's kind of the end battle. That was really cool as well. I thought it was a great starting point, and it actually gave me excitement for the second one. And the second one, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, took a huge leap. This has to go in great film for me. Better than Dead Man's Chest, I'd say yes. Better than Furious 7, ooh, I don't know about that. The highest I could put it is probably right here. But do I really want to put it above At World's End and Furious 7? You know what? I'm going to. And here's why. So, Koba is the bad guy in the second one. He's an ape that Caesar saved from the lab. They were all they were all being tested on in a lab, and then once he got his intelligence from this chemical that got spread, um, Koba tries to overthrow Caesar, and he ends up trying to kill Caesar. And just the theme of this movie is, I guess the theme of this entire trilogy was done so well. Like, it's so easy to see what they were going for. In the second one, um, the whole big thing is, oh, Caesar loves humans more than apes. And, like, there's just so much you get from these movies that I think you get more out of Dawn of the Planet of the Apes than you do from Pirates of the Caribbean, At World's End, and Furious 7. And as far as the enjoyment factor, I think it's on the same scale as all three. All three of these are on the same scale. So it comes down to which one has a better theme, and I think I give it to Dawn for sure. Now, War of the Planet of the Apes. I used to actually not like this one because I used to not give a crap about themes of the movies at all. I just cared about action. But now that I actually care about themes of the movies, this movie is incredible. I didn't realize how good of a movie this was until I went back and rewatched it at the age I am now. I'm almost 18 now, so me going back and rewatching it and actually thinking about what the theme of the movie is, it made this movie 10 times better. And it showed Caesar's resilience to killing someone that literally killed his wife. Well, yeah, his wife, I guess. Yeah, they're apes, but it's still his wife. There's a man who killed his wife and his son, and he found the resilience to not end up killing him in the end, even though he was drawn by hatred at the beginning. So there's a whole. This one easily is the best theme out of all three of them. Um, I don't think I'd put it above Dawn though. I think I still enjoy Dawn more, but because of the theme, War has to be right here. Actually, I might put it above it because I could honestly put War right here if I wanted to. Um, I'm going to. War is such a good movie. Like, if you guys haven't seen the Planet of the Apes movies from the newer edition, I highly recommend watching them, and you'll get so much out of the movies, which is crazy because you're literally watching apes run around and talking. But there's actually so much you get from these movies, and War easily has the best story. So even if you just want to watch one of them, watch War. You will get so much out of that movie. Next up, we have what I think is one of the most underrated franchises, the Hobbit franchise. Everyone bashes on it. Everyone says the CGI is god awful, but I really don't find a problem with any of the CGI. Like, I don't watch the movie and think any part of it's awful. An Unexpected Journey, I think this is the best one out of all of them. I actually am very high on this. I don't get why people don't like the like people think the first one's all right, but I love it. I think it's on par with Fellowship of the Ring. Yes, that's a very hot take. I know people are gonna hate me for saying that, but I'm gonna stand by that. And I'd probably have it higher than Batman Begins, higher than Winter Soldier. I'm probably gonna have it right here. Yeah, I'm gonna have The Hobbit and Unexpected Journey on the third highest for great film. It is such a good film, showing how the dwarves all come together at Bilbo's house and showing the evolution of his connection with Thorin, and it's basically the Fellowship of the Ring all over again, but it's a whole different story. The dwarves each have their own unique sense of humor, and it's our first time actually seeing how the dwarves act in Lord of the Rings, because the only other dwarf we see is Gimli from Lord of the Rings. Next one, Desolation of Smaug. I do think this is the worst one, and I'd probably put it down here. Some people say the second one's the best one. I don't know how they say it. It's the best one. I don't feel like a whole lot happens. This is literally just a bunch of traveling that happens. They're just traveling to the mountain the entire time. The only good things I like about this one is Smaug, the dragon, at the very end. His scenes at the very end are the coolest. So I'd probably put this. Oh crap. I already placed it down by accident. Oh yeah. Um, where would I want to put this? I'd probably put it in Could Watch Again. But I'd have it probably all lower than them. This is probably only gonna go like right here, honestly. Or should I put it higher than? Is it higher than the first Narnia? Uh, I'm gonna say no. Hobbit's gonna go right in between the first and second Narnia movies. The second one. I just I think there's a lot wrong with the second one. And the one scene, I don't know, there's just that one crazy scene with Bumfer where he explodes out of the barrel and he's like fighting them with axes and you can't even see. That's just like a crazy scene. But the only two scenes I really like in the second one is them escaping Mirkwood and the dragon at the very end. So it was kind of weak. The third one, another hot take. I think the third one is also another great film. I wouldn't put it up here per se, but people really underrate this battle. I'm gonna put it at the very top of Could Watch Again because I've probably watched the Battle of the Five Armies. I'm not kidding. I've probably watched it 25 times. I've watched it so many times and for good reason. I think this is the second or third best battle in the Lord of the Rings and Hobbit series. It's between this one, obviously the battle at Helm's Deep, and then the battle at Minas Tirith. Those three battles, I don't know which one I could say is my favorite because the Battle of the Five Armies battle I love. Like I could make an argument that that's my favorite one more than the battle for Minas Tirith and the battle for Helm's Deep. So that's saying a lot. But they killed Smaug at the very beginning. Bard becomes the king. They go and travel to Dale. Like there's just so much good things that happen in this Battle of the Five Armies movie that I think it's so underrated. And I'm actually regretting kind of not putting it up here, but I know a lot of people don't want me to do that, so I won't. We're down to the final three franchises. Next up, we have the Avengers. First one, honestly, all of these are probably gonna go in peak cinema. First Avengers has to go up here. It's one of the most highest grossing movies of all time. I'm gonna put it above The Dark Knight. I just think the Avengers movie is amazing the whole way through. There's no flaws, at least for me, in my eyes, for this movie. And a lot of so many people were excited for this movie that I kind of wish I was, like, old enough to be that hype. But watching it for the first time, like, I'll never forget it. It was so enjoyable, and I loved every second of it. Avengers Age of Ultron. I remember watching this for the first time. I was in the hotel with my dad and my siblings, and we watched it in the hotel. We watched it on disc, and I remember being like, it was alright, but uh, knowing the theme of it now and going back and rewatching it, I'd have it and could watch again, but I'd probably have it like right there, second highest. I'd have about 5 armies above it, that's just showing you how underrated I think this movie is. But Age of Ultron, obviously they're fighting Ultron. Ultron was great in this. I think he did very well with his villain role. But I don't know. I feel like there was something missing, but I can't really explain what. I just don't feel like I was that excited for this movie. And like I don't feel like I was on the edge of my seat at all for it. But and I thought the ending could have been better as well. That's what a lot of like these middle movies are like. I wish the ending could have been better. Next one we have Infinity War. Infinity War is my favorite. Uh, actually, I don't know. Between that, Infinity War and Endgame, it's pretty close. But Infinity War, like I said, same as the first Avengers, one of the highest grossing movies of all time. This introduces even the newer Marvel heroes together. There's over 20 Marvel superheroes in this movie, and somehow they made it all work together as one. Thanos, I would say, is the greatest villain in cinematic history, and uh, Josh Brolin did a phenomenal job as him. And I think this movie is borderline perfect for being a superhero movie. Endgame, it is right up here too. I don't know if I'm gonna have it first or second though. The end with Iron Man snapping his fingers, that's why I'm almost about to put it. I might have to put it first, honestly, just because of the ending. But them traveling back in time, most people don't like the whole time travel thing, but traveling back in time to get the stones so they can recreate the gauntlet to snap everyone back. And once they do, excuse me, once they do, it's just such a good movie. Everyone comes back through the portals, and then they fight Thanos, who came from the past. They all fight each other, and that's a great fight scene. Yeah, I think I'm gonna have Endgame first so far. So Endgame's gonna be the first for peak cinema, followed by Infinity War. But as you can see, the Avengers movies are absolutely incredible. I think Avengers is a top 3 franchise if you only look at the Avengers movies. Next up, we have Lord of the Rings, obviously considered the greatest movie franchise of all time. First one, we have The Fellowship of the Ring. Like I said, I think it is on the same level as An Unexpected Journey. I do think Fellowship's better, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that I wouldn't give them the same rating. I think Fellowship's better, but I do think An Unexpected Journey is not that far behind it. I do think I have Hobbit a little bit too high, though, maybe. Maybe right there. Yeah, I'd put. Yeah, I like that more. And then Fellowship of the Ring. I'd probably have it right there. yeah, Civil War is above Fellowship of the Ring. Fight me, I don't care. Um, yeah, Fellowship obviously introduces all the main characters that are going to be in it for all three movies. They bring them together. There's this huge fellowship. They travel to. They were supposed to originally all travel to the mountain to destroy the ring, but obviously Frodo and Sam split off, and it's the beginning of one of the greatest franchises of all time. Gandalf dies in it. That was a huge moment, especially early on in a movie franchise, even though he does come back in the second one, obviously. Um, Not a lot of flaws in it. I kind of wish there was more action in it, but it's a very good start to a movie. It's a perfect start to a franchise. Two Towers. People say this is the worst one. Um, I'd probably agree with that. I'd probably have the Two Towers right here, I'd say. No, probably right here. Yeah. Two Towers is gonna go in great film as well. Um, I didn't really care for the scenes where with Merry and Pippin when they were with the Ents, the trees, when they were destroying, when they were trying to convince them for the entire like second half of the movie. Like I didn't care for it. It's like just stop showing me these scenes. Just show me when they start destroying Isengard. So that was kind of annoying, and they kept splitting off from the battle to going to Sam and Pippin, or Merry and Pippin trying to convince the trees, and it's like, stop, I'm trying to watch the battle. So that was kind of annoying for the second half of the movie, but preparing for the Battle of Helm's Deep was really cool. Them traveling there was awesome. I don't know. Two Towers is just really good. I just think the first one's better. Next up, we have Return of the King. Yeah, that is my favorite movie of all time. Uh, I could rewatch it every single day. If I had to bring one movie on an island with me, it would be Return of the King. Has absolutely everything you want in a movie. The storyline is perfect. The ending was literally the most perfect ending you could ever have in a movie. And it makes you cry. Like, there's just so much emotion that goes in this third one. There's two amazing battles at the end of the movie. The battle for Minas Tirith ends, and you're like, oh, I kind of sad that's over. And then literally they're like, alright, well, we're gonna have to take this to the Black Gate, and we're gonna have to go fight them at Mordor. And it's like, oh crap, we're gonna see another war. So that made me pumped. Aragorn is a phenomenal actor. Everyone was perfect for their roles. There's just so much I could rant about for this movie, but I'm probably like over an hour if I had to guess on this review, so I'm gonna try and crank out these Star Wars movies. But overall, Lord of the Rings, I'd say it's the best franchise of all time. With Star Wars probably being, I'd probably say Star Wars is third. Honestly, I'd have Avenger. Yeah, Star Wars third. I'd probably go Lord of the Rings, Avengers if we're counting Avengers as its own franchise, then Star Wars, then Dark Knight. All right, Star Wars movies. Phantom Menace. It was alright, if I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna try and crank these out quickly. Gosh, I'm probably gonna have it right here, right in the middle. Not a whole lot went on here. The only good thing I liked about this movie was Darth Maul, if I'm being honest. And there's just not a lot of exciting things that happen in it. Attack of the Clones. Um, Slightly better, but it's still in the alright category. I'd probably have it. Um, I'll put it right there. It's not. Or is it? Maybe it is higher than First Avenger. No, I can't. Attack of Clones. It's basically the same as the first one. I didn't have a lot of things I liked about it, but them fighting Count Dooku at the end was really cool. That was probably the best moment from the scene or from the movie. Um, and them in the Colosseum was really cool when all the Jedi's came in and they started fighting all the droids. That was really cool. So actually, just for that scene alone, I'm gonna put it above Captain America: First Avenger because there's no scene in Captain America where I'm like, oh yeah, I want to go rewatch that scene. Revenge of the Sith, finally a good Star Wars movie. Better than didn't. It's gonna be a great film. It's not gonna be in peak cinema. Better than World's End. Better than. Let's see. How high are we gonna put this? Probably. I'd probably have it right there. Yes, I'm gonna have Revenge of the Sith over the Two Towers, but I'm gonna have it worse than the Fellowship. Introduce. This is how they introduce Anakin turning to the dark side. I think overall every single Jedi that was in this did very well with their acting. I thought the story was really good. Watching Obi-Wan fight General Grievous. Like, just listen to this. So at the very end of the movie, you get Obi-Wan versus General Grievous. You get Yoda versus Emperor Palpatine, and then you get Anakin versus Obi-Wan after. You get, obviously, Obi-Wan fights Grievous, and then he fights Anakin after, at the very end. But you get all three of those lightsaber fights at the very end of the movie. Like, it's like within an hour of each other. So, that alone is amazing. The ending was perfect. People literally cry when Anakin gets his limbs chopped off by Obi-Wan, and Obi-Wan tells him that he was his brother. Like, people cry to that, and that's how you know that it's such a good scene. And, I don't know, I think that's the only good one of the prequels, though, unfortunately. A New Hope, yeah, A New Hope, I'm gonna be honest, it's gonna be down here somewhere. It's probably gonna be right here. I don't know. Like I could definitely go back and rewatch it, but I don't. Like I said, I don't really have a desire to go back and rewatch it. Kind of like a few of these movies. It's like Iron Man 2 in a way for me. I know it's the one that started it all, but I just don't really care for it that much as other people do. Empire Strikes Back. This one is definitely in great films. I'd probably have it right. Um, Probably right here, I'd say. Empire Strikes Back, I'm gonna have it right behind Iron Man, but right above Fast Five. I think that's a good spot for it. Um, Story. This is probably the best story between 4, 5, and 6. I guess so far between 1 through 5, I'd say this was the one with the best story. Return of the Jedi is pretty close, but yeah, Empire Strikes Back is definitely my second favorite so far from the ones we've picked. Return of the Jedi. Um, it's gonna be up here in great film as well. Better than Furious 7, better than that one's then. Yep, yep. Probably have it. It's pretty similar to Empire Strikes Back. I have them like neck and neck with each other. Um, I'd probably have it right there. I'd have Empire Strikes Back slightly higher, and I think I enjoy Fast Five more than Return of the Jedi. But wraps up the story about Luke Skywalker. They do a pretty good job of wrapping it up. I was satisfied with the ending, and I don't know, just seeing Darth Vader end up switching to help Luke in the end, that was really cool. And I don't know, there's a lot of good scenes that you want to go back and rewatch for the sixth one and the fifth one, I guess. But I don't know. I think story's better than the fifth, and that's why I have it higher. Star Wars: The Force Awakens, another underrated movie. I'm not gonna put it in great film because it's not a great film, but I am gonna have it at the top of could watch again. This movie is so underrated. I have this. What? So what? This is gonna be my first, second, third. This is going to be my fourth highest Star Wars movie, and I honestly think for good reason. Kylo Ren was cool in this one. So scratch 8 and 9. Act like you never watched 8 and 9. Kylo Ren was a very cool character. You liked Finn. You liked Poe. You liked the two rebels. You liked the Resistance. killing Han off was a shocker because people didn't know that he just didn't want to do the rest of the franchise. So it was actually a surprise that Han died. Chewie was back. The Millennium Falcon was back. There was so much stuff that brought you back to the old Star Wars movies that it was just so good. And the only complaint I have, and the reason it's not in great film, is because obviously that Rey should not have been able to beat Kylo in a lightsaber fight. Now I do know he was injured. Obviously you see him punching his ribs and blood came out. So obviously he wasn't injured and that was probably stopping some of his mobility, but I still think that he should have beat her pretty easily. Well, maybe not easily, but he still should have beat her convincingly. Um, and then Finn landed a blow on Kylo, which people were like really mad about, but Kylo was like toying with him in the beginning. Like you can see Kylo not really trying against him in the beginning. So I wasn't really too mad about that. Because then literally 2 seconds later, Kylo slices his back with a lightsaber, and you are questioning whether Finn died or not. Oh boy. Alright. Awful. Let's see. Do we want to put it at the very end? No. Nothing's worse than Narnia 3. I'd have it better than Fast and Furious 4 too, honestly, if I'm gonna be honest. But this is what really killed Star Wars. This movie was god awful. I don't even want to talk about it. And then this one was slightly better, but still, well, I guess I can put it up here. Yeah, yeah, we can put it right there. Just barely though. At first I was gonna put it in awful, but I forgot that they kind of redeemed themselves slightly. Like, the eighth one was so bad that people were like praying that the ninth one was gonna be good, and some parts were actually good about the ninth one. So I could put the ninth one in. It was all right. I'm fine with that. Now, do we want to change anything before we just look at everything? Let's see. Does anything deserve to move up? Civil War. I don't think that needs to move up to peak cinema. Force Awakens I can stay and could watch again. And then Attack of the Clones is definitely not moving up. Yeah, alright. So this is my list of the most famous movie trilogy movies. Um, if you guys would like to see me do a tier list on anything else, make sure to leave a comment down below. I know this is a very long video. I'm sure most people won't watch to the very end because it's probably going to be an hour and a half, if I'm guessing. But I enjoy doing stuff like this and talking about movies. So if you guys have any movie tier list or video game tier list you guys want me doing, just, leave a comment down below, and I'll make sure to get to it as quickly as I can. But comment down below and critique my list any way you want, because I know some people are going to have comments about it. Like, for example, not having all three Hobbit movies in peak cinema. People are going to hate that. Me having Civil War over Fellowship and the Two Towers. Having Revenge of the Sith over the Two Towers. Um, having An Unexpected Journey this high. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff, but I don't know. I like this list. I think this is a good list, at least for me. I think it represents how I feel about these movies really well. But thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys all enjoyed this, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.